Hello, we are back with episode 3 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. I really liked the last episode. It was really, fascinating to see all of the different dynamics between the characters, especially on Team Green. Okay, so the audio from this point forward here is not going to match what I am saying on the screen because unfortunately, and the reason that this reaction is up late is because all of the audio got corrupted and I salvaged as much as I could for the actual reaction. I think I only had to cut out a few minutes of actual reaction, but some bits are silent, which is a little awkward, but I did the best that I could. But yeah, so it is unfortunate because this is the most talky video that I have had, I think ever. I spent 10 minutes talking before the episode and 12 minutes after the episode, and that is pretty much all gone. So I'm just sort of going to replicate roughly what I said. Obviously, luckily, unlike the reaction itself, the pre-episode thoughts, I can sort of reiterate what I was saying. So what I was saying about the second episode was that I found it really interesting the way that Team Green were interacting with each other, particularly just the family dynamics and the different relationships between the characters. In particular, obviously we see Alicent trying to comfort Helena and not really succeeding, but being completely unable to comfort Aegon at the end when he's crying by himself in front of the fire, and she's unable to go to him, which we see right before that Otto, she tries to go to him and he's unwilling to hear what she has to say. So we see this way these sort of dynamics are passed on. And obviously, Aegon has been a character who is, in season 1 he did some absolutely inexcusable things, but you can't help but feel some sympathy for him in this episode. Obviously his son has been brutally murdered and he's really upset about it, and Otto Hightower, always able to use his own great-grandson's death for PR, and also completely disregarding all of the pain that any member of his family is in, and also throwing Viserys' emotional neglect of Aegon right in Aegon's face while he is grieving his dead son. That is a very Otto thing to do, isn't it? I mean, honestly, he had that firing coming. I'd actually forgotten that Cole became Aegon's hand in the book until right during that moment, and I was like, oh, he's about to give this to Criston Cole, who of course doesn't deserve it. So yeah, that was interesting. Cole, he was, sending Eric to his death to absolve his own guilt. Yeah, okay. But the whole way that family was just interacting and failing to comfort each other was really fascinating to watch, particularly the moment between Aegon and Helena on the stairs, because the thing is, they both are so alone in this moment. Helena obviously is alone because nobody's really paying any attention to her except for Alicent, and Aegon is also alone because Alicent won't even go to him. And I understand the reasons why she couldn't go to him. Obviously her relationship with motherhood has been very complicated, but also your son is crying, you should try to go to him, but she can't. But because of that, he has nobody else other than Helena, and he doesn't go to her on the stairs. Now, I had a different interpretation of that moment than apparently the actor did, because I sort of saw that moment as him blaming Helena for actually pointing out Jaehaerys, so he doesn't want to talk to her or something like that. But apparently it was supposed to be a moment of shared connection where he starts to respect her because he understands that she feels the same pain that he does, and that is not how I read that moment, but apparently that's how it was intended, so that is interesting. And but basically that whole thing was just really sad because his mother won't go to him. He, for whatever reason, is not going to his sister/wife. We're not getting into all that again. So he really has no one, because obviously his jerk friends are not likely to give any real emotional comfort in any way, which is reiterated by obviously this is the pre-episode thoughts, but is reiterated by this episode where they just continue to suck. So yeah, the whole thing is really interesting. Also, obviously, we saw Aemond with Sylvie because I guess he is unable to have those kinds of moments with his family, so he sought them elsewhere. And really, that whole family is just such a mess. We did finally get a Daeron mention, but of course he's off screen. He's not been raised with his family, which means he's probably the most well-adjusted member of Team Green, I would have to guess. But Helena is of course always going to be my favorite. She is my favorite character on the show. I do love Helena, and I just felt for her so much in episode 2. Other thoughts on episode 2, the fight between Eric and Arik was done differently than the book, which is interesting. I don't know why they changed it. I don't really care that much, but it was interesting. I did note that Rhaenyra was basically completely helpless in that scene because she has like no physical ability to defend herself. She has a dragon, but when she's not on her dragon, she's like helpless. And I just think that the instant Viserys like named Rhaenyra his heir, he should have been teaching her how to like fight with a sword and defend herself, because that's gonna be a mark against her to some of these people, that she can't do that the way most kings are expected to. Because even with like kings, with men who are unable to do that, they sort of get disrespected, like with Daeron. So I do think that it was something he should have done. I don't know if I actually said that the first time, but it is something that I was thinking, so throwing it in there. I also liked that one Jace and Baela scene that was in that episode, and them sort of bonding in that way. Baela saying that she might hate Daemon is interesting. I mean, he's not a great guy, so, you know, understandable in that way, but also essentially because Rhaena is the one that he didn't spend a lot of time with. Baela, he did put that attention on, so it's an interesting dynamic there. Obviously, they're also talking about Jace and his fathers, and yeah, I just thought it was a sweet scene to show their bond of cousins / step siblings / fiance. We don't need to rehash that. And then obviously there's the Rhaenyra and Daemon scene. I so appreciated her finally seeing him for what he was. It was, yeah, very appreciated in that, you know, she's telling him she's done with his being a terrible person. So I'm interested to see how the course of their relationship develops, like, over the course of the season. And yeah, I did talk for a bit longer, but I don't really remember what I said. If anyone's like able to read lips, you could mute this and try and, you know, make out what I said the first time. I'm sure it was very insightful, but unfortunately, yeah, I'm just gonna stop it here and go right into the reaction, and then I will talk my post-episode thoughts after. Oh. The Riverlands. Oh, there's the Blackwoods and the Brackens.
Put the bound there.
Oh, I guess he dared. Oh my god. Interesting that the name of the episode is The Burning Mill, but we don't actually see the actual battle. Oh, wow, that's a lot of dead people.
Otto Hightower would never have allowed this.
Yeah, she understands.
Hotter blood has prevailed, I think. The young men have taken out the point where none of it will matter. And the desire to, as you permitted the murder of a little boy in his bed.
She makes a good point. Realizing that you messed up.
Lord.
Alicent's like, what is he doing here?
Forgive my lack. The Blackwoods and the Brackens have feuded for centuries. This is nothing more than an excuse for them to indulge their ancient grudge. It's no true war.
Great military mind of the Citadel. Do remind me, which link in your chain denotes the art of war?
This council must rediscover the discipline it lately had if it's to be a bold scheme indeed.
Well, the gods favour the bold.
They did not favour Sir Eric.
What say you, my king?
We cannot risk your loss.
I'm as fearsome as any of them.
A place at your court.
Here we go.
You say why?
Maybe he's lonely.
Does sea smoke being restless mean... Does it mean Leno died?
Yeah. I need you to be the mother to them that I cannot. Teach them, train them, guard them as a dragon guards her eggs.
And my sister?
Poor Rhaena.
I swear this by the old gods and
Hey, Alice.
Poison?
How would you
It's an easy way to kill a dragon rider.
I didn't know Daemon was coming.
Clubfoot is no lord of mine.
Okay, you
He's a
didn't
scourge
have a
upon this
disability.
Your grace.
Forgive me, Your Grace.
Did you talk to Rhaenyra about that?
What then? Detesting one another.
Why?
Oh, well. The arm nor seal his bowels. Begging your pardon for the impression. His grip on his bannerman is weak.
It's a big chair, made of swords.
And by a man from such modest beginnings.
Okay.
I thank your Grace for her prayers.
Yep, she is over it.
And request that she grant her...
She doesn't want to.
Oh, with none but prattling babes.
One of those babes is your heir.
I have much to attend to.
Oh no. I really hope they make up for the next episode.
I feel sad about Jaehaerys. But I ought not to, I think. People die all the time. Especially babes. They're so little, so they're taken so easily. They lose their babes more than highborn ladies.
Oh, that's true.
Same to grief as anyone. Helena,
I forgive you.
What?
I said that I forgive you.
Brutally slain by our enemies, and his body parts scattered to beasts, and his court come to ruin, so the Queen Alicent may reign in his absence, with Prince Aemond at her side. Absurd, of course. You honor me, Your Grace.
It does seem wise on reflection.
You could come out with us, my king. Sir Martin, you're sworn to chastity now.
Of course, Your Grace.
Yeah, he's gonna take that seriously. His son's just murdered, if you remember.
Who was your grandsire?
They call him the Conciliator.
King Jaehaerys. Or Targaryen.
Well, this bastard.
Balon the Brave.
Bastard brother to Prince Daemon. And the late King Viserys. Uncle to the one true queen, Rhaenyra Targaryen. The blood of the dragon runs through these veins, and yes, no white-cloaked guardsman to do it for him.
Balon.
You do not look very... The rightful heir to the Iron Throne, my nephew, Prince Jaehaerys Velaryon.
Here's your other nephew.
All hail the king!
All hail the king!
Drinks for all! At the pleasure of the crown!
Poor Diana. Imagine the king just walks in.
Very much occupied.
Oh, he's drunk. This is sad. She misses them. Jace and Baela are now basically the only ones left. She's going to read Alicent's letter now. I feel like she understands now, too. What's happening? Oh. Baela. Bela, she told you to stay hard. Why are you so close? Okay, Bela, slow down. She told you not to get too close.
Ends.
It was not such a great height, Your Grace. You said not to engage, so I didn't. Exactly.
Your Grace, we commend them.
Request your permission to return to Rook's Rest and fortify
Oh, not Rook's Rest. Oh, she's proud.
And I have to clean up afterwards.
You will die in this place.
Okay. You didn't have to do that, but you did. Oh, Massey. It says she's a Massey.
Killing her would be easier.
So dangerous.
No. What? Taken or slain? Done it before I killed you. And then what? So you've come to surrender then?
Not quite. This reminds me of the season 1 episode.
I swear this to you, on the memory of my mother.
Just like Rhaenyra did. Does she actually believe it? Yeah, so maybe you shouldn't have put your kid on the throne.
He said he was the prince that was promised to unite the realm.
What?
I desire peace as you do, but... Yes, he did. It's a story he once told. About Aegon the Conqueror. The Conqueror.
And she's doubling down.
You know what Aemond is? It's too late, Rhaenyra. Alison.
I mean, she's not wrong, Allison. It's not wrong. It is too late. What can she do? There's no going back. She can't control him. She can't control Aemond. Alright, here we are at the end. I did like this episode because I am doing this now a little bit later since the whole audio thing got messed up. I did see that the reaction to this episode was a little bit mixed, with some people not liking it because they felt there wasn't enough action. That was not my problem with this episode. I just want to say that. I just felt like that sex scene didn't quite have the emotional impact it should have, and I think a lot of that is probably because I got spoiled that it was going to happen by people on the internet talking about leaks, and I wish that had not happened because I don't know how they got those leaks, but it's really rude. People should not be talking about leaks online. Like, it's one thing to talk about an episode after it's aired, and like if you haven't seen it yet, you stay off the internet, but leaks, really? Like, how can people be expected to even know that there were leaks? So that is frustrating, but it also, I don't know, something felt weird about it. Like, Rhaenyra just went there, but she had no, like, actual terms to offer. She was like, let's have peace, and like, what, Alicent is not wrong in that scene. Like, it is too late. There was nothing that can be done at that point, and honestly, people are talking about how, like, it's all Alicent's fault, now she realizes it's all her fault because of this misunderstanding, but it's not really all her fault, because Alicent could have walked into that council after Viserys died saying, it's time to make Rhaenyra the queen, and the Green Council would still have usurped Rhaenyra with Aegon, because they already had that plan in motion. If anything, they just wouldn't have, like, held back because Alicent wanted mercy. So I really don't think the misunderstanding didn't matter for anything except for, like, Alicent's character and her relationship with Rhaenyra, and I do like that it was cleared up. but I also think Alicent is correct. There is nothing she can do at this point. She cannot control, she cannot go to Aegon and say, it's time to abdicate. Maybe she could have done that before, but not now. Not now that Jaehaerys is dead, not now that he so, like, emotionally relies on the love of the people and is so, like, desperate for it. Like, he wants that love. I mean, here in this episode with him, like, buying the drinks for everyone, that was him, like, trying to win back the people. Like, he craves that because he never got any emotional, you know, love or support from his family, which maybe if he had, he wouldn't have turned into what he did. But the point is, like, Alicent cannot do anything at this point. Both of her sons that live with her want war. Who knows what Daeron wants? But yeah, I mean, like, Alicent is correct, and Rhaenyra, like, obviously she's not going to abdicate the throne, so, like, war is inevitable, it's coming, but at least now, like, I appreciate that now at least Rhaenyra and Alicent will be somewhat, like, on the same page. Not on the same page exactly, but they will, like, their personal grievances seem to be, like, mostly resolved. Like, they don't have personal animosity for each other, but their kids do. So yeah, I mean, Jace, you could see this episode was, like, really out for blood. Like, he, yeah, wanted violence. And then it was is a theme that they've been playing with this whole show, is, like, men wanting violence, women wanting peace. It is a little frustrating because in the book, like, Rhaenyra was very much not peaceful. Like, she just wasn't. And they're softening her character a lot for the show, and I understand because they want to make her the main character, but, like, it is a little, like, Book Rhaenyra would have just killed Alicent. Obviously, Book Rhaenyra didn't have the relationship with Alicent that showed her, and I prefer this version. Like, I really like the relationship between them, which, again, I personally think is romantic. But I'm just saying, like, Book Rhaenyra wasn't this, like, obsessed with peace, and, like, I don't mind as a theme. Like, obviously the theme overall is that war is bad. It's just Rhaenyra isn't. I mean, Alicent too, really. They both, yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting way of doing it. Obviously, in the show version, though, they do want peace, and I like that was established, and that I really liked Rhaenys, you know, urging Rhaenyra for peace. I do have a thought on that will be in a book spoiler little bit I'm going to do at the end. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I just felt like, yeah, there's nothing, by the time of that step scene, it's just too late. Other things in the episode, Ulf saying that he is Balon's son. That is going to be controversial for some people because in the books, Balon was so loyal to his wife, his sister wife, Alyssa, that even after her death, he supposedly, like, never even entertained the thought of another woman. Now, presumably, Ulf was, in the show version, conceived after her death, but it is still going to bother some people. I don't mind. I do find it interesting. But yeah, so there was that. There was, Rhaena being sent away. I really felt for Rhaena, and, like, Rhaenyra, the fact that she doesn't seem to love her stepchildren, it's a little, okay. But yeah, interesting they're going to the Vale. Also have some thoughts on that. That'll be in the book spoiler section. Also those eggs that they said were Dany's eggs. I just choose not to believe that. I don't really care, because it just doesn't make sense for those to be Dany's eggs based on, I mean, I guess the show canon and book canon are different, but I'm just choosing to believe those are not Dany's eggs, and obviously it's not like we're going to answer that question in the show because Dany's not in the show, so I'm just going to ignore that. But yeah, other character dynamics, Aegon was back to kind of sucking this episode. I mean, I still do feel for him, and, like, you can see that he's clearly masking, like, you know, his grief behind, like, ridiculous actions, but, like, also, he was back to sucking, in, like, a lot of ways. Also, he's so, when he said, like, I'm as fierce as any of them, like, he's so pathetic, and he's so easy to manipulate, and, I mean, like, I do feel bad for him, I really do, but also, like, he does some really inexcusable, and, like, we had, Diana was in this episode that we saw, yeah, I don't know. Aemond, honestly, I don't know why we have this little subplot with Aemond. I mean, I get they want to show that he's, like, vulnerable, but, like, you shouldn't have cast a 27-year-old actor to play a 16-year-old if that's what you want. I'm just saying. Yeah. But, yeah, we have Daemon with Harrenhal and Alice Rivers. That was all fascinating. The scene with young Rhaenyra, Millie, they did a really good job keeping her up on that. I was not expecting to see her. I know I didn't have much of a reaction, but I still didn't expect it. So that was interesting. Yeah. We got Alice and her Country Blood Magic, and we got a weirwood tree, so that was exciting. Obviously, lots of more book spoiler thoughts. I'm gonna do a little, like, book spoiler thought section, but yeah, lots of setup. The men of Rhaenyra's council, they suck. The Green Council, also highly inefficient. Both councils, really not good. This whole thing is just a disaster for everyone involved. I think the last scene that I want to talk about before I go to the book spoiler section is the Alicent and Helaena scene, because, I love Helaena so much, and this scene was just really sad, like her trying to contextualize losing Jaehaerys and like telling herself she shouldn't feel bad because she doesn't understand, like she doesn't want those feelings that I guess she has, it serves no purpose. She's like trying to, yeah, it was really sad. And I'm interested to see if Helena's arc differs from the book, where she kind of just went mad with grief and did nothing for the rest of the time. We still haven't seen Dreamfire at all. The fact that Helaena rides the second biggest dragon in the world after Vhagar has never been mentioned. I would love if they would change the fact that Helaena never rode Dreamfire again after Blood and Cheese and maybe had us see Dreamfire. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I just think it's interesting because obviously Helaena in the show is already so different from Helaena in the book, and I'm just interested to see if anything happens with that, any more visions, and yeah. I also found Helaena forgiving her mother just so emotional, because I know like ostensibly she was forgiving her like for being with Cole while Blood and Cheese was happening, but to me it felt like she was acknowledging that, you know, Alicent has come up short as a mother and has that complicated relationship with motherhood, but like acknowledging that she is trying and like forgiving her for her shortcomings as a mother by saying like, I know you're trying. And I don't know if that's how it was intended, but that's how I interpreted that scene, and it meant a lot to me as someone who really likes Helaena and really values their relationship and both those characters. Another quick thing I did want to mention, that I was curious if Sea Smoke, like being distressed, meant that Laenor had died off screen, and I wonder if that's going to be something that comes up. I'm going to get into the book spoiler section now, so if you haven't read the book, thanks for watching. Everyone else, so just some thoughts book spoiler wise. Okay, so first of all, Rhaenys being the one to be cautioning restraint, to be like, I don't want to go to war, like I don't know if I should do this, is just so poignant and like heartbreaking, knowing that she is going to be the first casualty when they do send the dragons to war. Next episode, it seems like. It's really going to suck losing her and might make things even more violent. Other spoilery thoughts, with sending Aegon and Viserys to the Vale, I'm interested in how the Battle of the Gullet is going to like work with that when they're already sending them away now and all of that. But I think it does seem like the Battle of the Gullet is pushed to next season, so I guess we will wait and see how that all goes down, or if it's different. That was interesting. Another thing about the eggs, I think one of those 4 eggs is going to hatch into mourning at the end of this. Although maybe not if they do have Ren and claim Sheep Stealer, which I'm still hoping doesn't happen, because Nettles is, you know, that would be like, that's really a sign of like Rhaenyra, you know, not having, you know, good intentions, like, or doing something bad, and like I don't want them to cut all of those out, but yeah. And then last spoiler thought is just Daemon at Harrenhal, and Alicent Service just straight up telling him that you will die here. First of all, he doesn't quite die there, it's over the God's Eye, but whatever, close enough, I guess. But interesting that they would reveal that so early. I'm curious what the play is there. But yeah, I think that basically summarized all of my thoughts on the episode, and I am excited to see next episode, although also kind of dreading it because it is going to be, it seems like the Battle of Rook's Rest, and that's going to kind of suck. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time with working audio.